Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be breaking down 5 DWI stop tricks police don't want you to know. Blue lights hit your rearview mirror. You pull over. The officer walks up, leans in slightly, and says, "Hey, how you doing tonight? You had anything to drink?" You answer casually, "Just one." He pauses, looks at you, then says, "Step out of the vehicle." What just happened? What did you do wrong? And more importantly, what should you have said instead? Because in a DWI stop, one sentence can be the difference between driving away and being arrested. Let's get into it. Before we go anywhere further, comment where in the world you're watching from and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Here's the reality most people don't understand. DWI investigations are built step by step. The officer is gathering evidence from the moment they see your car to the moment they speak to you to every word you say. And the biggest mistake people make? They help build the case against themselves. This is not about being disrespectful. It's not about beating the system. It's about understanding your rights, complying with the law, and not giving away evidence you don't have to give. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 DWI stop tricks that catch people off guard every single day. You'll learn what the officer is actually looking for, what the law may require from you, what you should avoid, and the exact words you can use to protect yourself, calmly and legally. Let's start with the first one. The just one drink trap. Officer says, "Have you had anything to drink tonight?" Most people think this is casual conversation. It's not. It's evidence gathering. When you say just one, you've already admitted to drinking. That gives the officer a foundation to escalate the stop. Now they're watching you more closely, listening harder, looking for signs to justify the next step. Here's what you should say instead. "Officer, I prefer not to answer any questions." That's it. Calm, neutral, no attitude. Why does this work? Because you're invoking your right to remain silent without being confrontational. You're not lying, you're not admitting anything, you're simply not providing information that can be used against you. And notice something important. You didn't argue. You didn't say, "Why are you asking me that?" You didn't get defensive. You stayed controlled. That matters. Now, let's move to the second trap. The step out and perform setup. Officer says, "Can you step out of the vehicle and do a few quick tests for me?" This is where people get nervous and start trying to prove they're sober. But here's the key distinction. In many places, field sobriety tests are not mandatory. They are voluntary. The officer's looking for physical signs, balance issues, coordination problems, divided attention mistakes. Even completely sober people can struggle with these under pressure. So when you agree to these tests, you're giving the officer more opportunities to collect evidence. Here's what you should say instead. "Officer, I'm not refusing to cooperate, but I do not consent to any field sobriety tests." Listen to how that sounds. You're not resisting, you're not arguing, you're simply making a clear legal distinction. Why does this matter? Because you're showing compliance with lawful orders, like stepping out of the vehicle if required, but you're not volunteering for additional tests that can be subjective and used against you. That phrase protects you while keeping the situation calm. Now the third trap, the search your car request. At some point, the officer might say, "Mind if I take a quick look inside your vehicle?" This is a classic. It sounds harmless, friendly even. But if you say yes, you've just given consent. That means anything they find, open containers, unrelated items, can be used as evidence. And you've waived certain legal protections. Here's the exact phrase. "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." Simple, clear, no extra words. Why does this work? Because it preserves your rights. If the officer has legal grounds to search, they will proceed anyway. But if they don't, your refusal may prevent a search entirely, or at least preserve your ability to challenge it later. And again, tone matters. Say it calmly, not aggressively, not sarcastically. Now let's talk about the fourth trap, the keep talking mistake. Once people get nervous, they start filling silence. I'm just tired. I worked all day. I only had a couple hours ago. I'm fine, I swear. Every extra sentence is more material. The officer is listening for inconsistencies, slurred speech, confusion, or admissions. Silence in this context is protection. Here's what you say. I choose to remain silent. That's it. If the officer keeps asking questions, you can repeat it. I choose to remain silent. Why does this matter? Because it stops the flow of information. It prevents you from accidentally saying something that can be interpreted against you. And remember, you're not being uncooperative, you're exercising a constitutional right. Now the fifth and final trap, the "are you detained" moment. After some questioning, there's often a pause. You're not sure what's happening next. People sit there waiting, hoping it ends, but you need clarity. Here's the question. Am I free to go or am I being detained? This is one of the most important phrases you can use. Why? Because it forces a legal distinction. If you're free to go, the stop should end. If you're being detained, then the officer must have a lawful reason to continue. It also signals that you understand your rights without being confrontational. Now, if the situation escalates and you're placed under arrest, there's one more phrase you need to know. I want to speak to a lawyer. Say it clearly, then stop talking. Why does this matter? Because once you request a lawyer, questioning is supposed to stop. Continuing to talk after that can undo the protection you just invoked. Now let's talk about some critical warnings. Do not try to argue your case on the roadside. That is not the place to win. Do not make sudden movements. Keep your hands visible. Move slowly. Announce what you're doing. Do not get rude or aggressive. Even if you feel the stop is unfair, escalating emotionally will only make things worse. Do not give consent casually. And do not talk too much. Most DWI cases are strengthened by what people say, not just what they do. Now, an important legal clarification. DWI laws vary depending on where you are. Some places have implied consent laws for chemical tests like breath or blood after arrest. Refusing those can carry separate penalties. Field sobriety tests, roadside questioning, and search rules can also vary based on jurisdiction and specific facts. So this is not personal legal advice. It's a framework to help you understand how these encounters typically work and how to avoid common mistakes. Let's bring it all together. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Stay calm. Comply with lawful commands. Do not consent to searches or voluntary tests. Remain silent when questioned. Ask if you are free to go. And if things escalate, request a lawyer and stop talking. That combination protects you more than trying to talk your way out of the situation ever will. Because in a DWI stop, it's not about saying the perfect thing. It's about not saying the wrong thing. And in the next video, we're going to break down what happens after arrest, specifically the breathalyzer process, implied consent laws, and the one mistake that can cost people their license instantly.